Hey y'all, this is She Buys It with Whitney Nicely.
Yay! Hello. Welcome back to the She Buys It podcast. I have a brilliant businesswoman with me today. Jenine White is here, and she's from the Bay Area in California. And we had Monica Sawyer last week on the She Buys It podcast. So I think it's perfect that Jenine is on the podcast this week because last year I got to have dinner with Monica and Jenine, and they scared the crap out of me. Took me to the top of the floor of some building, and I'm scared of heights. And it was a slight disaster on my part, but I tried to keep it cool and collected for them. I'm sure I didn't, but it's nice to have both those ladies back to back on the podcast. Now, Jenine is a part-time investor, and she's working a 9-to-5 job. She's also a wife and a mom, and she's a traveler, and she loves a good vineyard. So we may get into some traveling and some regular momming and adulting, which we've talked about a little bit before we got started, but that's Jenine, and she's wonderful. She's actually been in First Little and Fast family since before we had the FDDF family. So I'm super proud of all of the things that you've learned and you've done. I also want to throw in that Jenine and I took a trip to LA. I used to do FDDF Live all around the country, and we'd have 10 or 15 people come in, and we'd do a weekend seminar and in a hotel room, and we just like learn as much as we could, and then we'd go on a trip out to wherever we were, and we'd look at real houses. Mm-hmm. Well, we ended up on a corner in Compton or something. And I was sure we were going to get shot or kidnapped. This white van pulled up and stopped, and I like took off, and there's like a hot warehouse down the street, and like I was scared to death, y'all. I was scared to death. And the agent that we were with and Jenine and the other LA girls, they were all like, we're fine, everything's fine, quit freaking out, country girl. But Jenine and I have had some fun times together, and we've learned together, we've grown together, and I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Whitney. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I want to start off because your first deal was kind of a new deal. It's new to the market. It's something that people don't really know so much about. And I think you and Kendra are the first ladies that I know that have bought something using this new strategy. So you want to tell us what you got going on and tell us where it is and how you found it and all that stuff.
Okay, well, that's kind of an interesting story. So it's a vacant lot that's in an area called East Chicago, Indiana, which is like right outside Gary, Indiana, and it's actually purchased on a tax lien. I don't know if I told you that part of it. So it's purchased on through a tax lien. So we're still waiting for the redemption periods and all that stuff. I have an attorney out there, and they're, making sure all the proper paperwork is being filed. And but I mean, it was a good way for me to get in. It was a very tiny investment to start with. And so it's something that we can probably build like a duplex or something on, because it's in a neighborhood next door to like other houses and duplexes. So yeah, I was scared to get involved, of course, but I thought, okay, here is my chance. Here is my opportunity. So I just took it and ran with it.
I love it. Okay, so it's a tax sale lot, tax lien lot. Yeah. So those are different boogers than what we usually talk about in First Little and Fast. And I'll say that my first investment ever was a vacant piece of land. Mm-hmm. I bought it at a foreclosure auction, but then that spun me into going to tax sales and buying land at tax sales. So I've been through that. So my question is, I've never been through that in Indiana. So what's the tax lien situation like in Indiana? How'd you find this piece of property, and what was the bidding like?
Well, here's the thing. So I, of course, hooked up with another coach.
Okay.
Who does the she has a program where you can either go with her to the tax, to the sales, to the bidding and all that stuff, or you can pay her company and use her resources and her all of her information. And she gives you a list to sort through all these elaborate things. So I had to sort through a list and pick the ones, like pick like have a list of 20 to pick from, and then she'll go and bid for you. But you gotta, just make sure that you're picking, like, okay, I wouldn't mind having this one. That looks good. That looks good. I see the pictures of that. And so, yeah, that was the beginning process. And so, go ahead.
So it's kind of like when I was a kid, I'd get like a catalog and I'd just say, I wouldn't mind having this and I wouldn't mind having that. You kind of just go through a spreadsheet of tax sales and say, take this one?
Yeah, she provided the spreadsheets.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then you would go on the recorder's side, and it would give you a Google's eye view of the lot, so you can see exactly what you are getting, because you could make a mistake and buy a piece of grass. You thinking you're buying something that you're not. You're bidding on something that's not there.
So at the third tax sale that I ever went to, I was looking up the stuff and I was doing the research, and I had in my own little spreadsheet that I'd built. And I don't know if I'm slightly dyslexic or something, but I switched a 1 and a 7. And so I thought I was bidding on 15 acres overlooking a lake. What I actually bought for $500 was 3 acres under the water. It's the only lot in Tennessee, in the entire state, that doesn't have a blade of grass, doesn't have a tree, doesn't have nothing on it. It is literally underwater. I bought a property underwater, and it doesn't exist in Tennessee. This is the only one, and I bought it for $500 at a tax sale.
Oh my God.
So it's super important that you do your own research and you look at what you're getting, and you don't copy and paste or misread a 1 for a 7, or you will buy a loser.
Yeah.
I still have it though. It's a good story. We're trying to turn lemonade into vodka with it.
Wow. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's been a pretty interesting process. And next, yeah, I plan on buying more properties in that way through tax.
So did she go to the sale, or did you bid on it online, or how'd that work?
She went to the sale. There's actually a September sale that's actually online as well. But she went, and she'll go and bid for you based on what you picked, based on what you selected.
Well, I've got other questions, but the first one is, what's her name? Who is this? We need to know who she is.
Her name is Nico Cherie, and I've shared some things from her on my page before. Maybe, I don't know if you have seen it, but yeah, her name is Nico Cherie, Nekoccheri. Yeah, she's really big on, and empowerment for our communities and coming together and group economics and all, so yeah.
Yeah, I saw you shared something about that the other day, where like 3 friends get together and save $50, and after some time they can buy a triplex and one of them lives in it. They all make money off of it. And group economics, I love that.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that was the route that I chose to go. As you know, here in the Bay Area, it's a little different than anywhere else in,
It's like its own world inside the U.S.
Yeah. So I kind of had to, instead of like, oh, there's nothing here, I can't get my foot in, I kind of just had to find my own way to get my foot in the door. And so Well,
you've tried cross-country investing before, haven't you? I mean, one of your very first leads was in Virginia or something?
Yes. Oh my God, Whitney. That's where I was like, okay, this Whitney lady, what in the world? Like, I never would have thought that, but I'm like, but when I saw the concepts of doing that, I'm like, well, it doesn't hurt to try, just to throw it out there. And I was just amazed at at that tactic and how it was like a fish on a hook. So easy. So easy. And that's what got the ball rolling. But yeah, I can almost say that was pretty much like my first deal. It didn't go, it didn't go as planned, but it did not matter. I mean, after that, I was empowered. I was ready to go.
It didn't close, but it was our first taste of victory. Yeah. And it was our first, I can do this.
Yes. So yeah.
I love that. Okay. So you've got the vacant land in Indiana. How big is the lot?
How big is the lot? I want to say maybe about 5,000 square feet, maybe.
5,000 square feet. So yeah. It takes, I think, 46,000 square feet of my real estate education to make an acre. So you've got a city lot?
Yes.
City lot, and there's other buildings around it, so you can plop down a duplex or a house or whatever you want after you get the clear title.
After I get the clear title, but I'm thinking, yes, definitely after I get the clear title. I found out that it was that unit, that duplex that was there had burned down in a fire. And so it was never, they never decided to build on it. I'm hoping that's a good thing. I mean, they're probably like, whatever, take it, whatever. So
is that the plan? Are y'all going to build a duplex, or are you going to sell it to somebody that wants to build a duplex? What you thinking?
No, our plan is to build a duplex on
Awesome.
It. Yeah.
Awesome. How much did you pay for it, if you don't mind me asking?
$500.
$500, ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. I love it.
That's yes. So that's why.
And I guess when you're looking through the spreadsheet, you can tell Nico, like, here's my max bid, and she just bids on your behalf. That's awesome.
Yes, you send what you're going to bid. If I only send her 500, then that's what she can. That's what she'll do. So. And
that's people. I'm an auctioneer too, and people do that at auctions all the time, where they send somebody in their place. Maybe they got to work. Maybe they're out of town. Maybe so like that's totally doable. Mm-hmm. And that's an awesome way to get started. And the experience you learn of closing that deal and going through that deal and seeing it happen will also open up your eyes to other opportunities. And you can say, okay, yeah, we can do this. Oh, well, we did it like that this time, and we did it this way, and all that stuff. Now, in Tennessee.
Brittany, let me tell you this, though, that you're going to love. Let me tell you this part. I did not tell my husband that I was doing this.
Oh, bless your heart, Jenine.
I did not tell him because I did not want, not that people do this on purpose, but people will say, well, are you sure that's not going to work? I didn't want to hear nothing. I didn't want to hear nothing at all. So I just went and I did it. And I told him, like, one morning as we're getting ready to go to work, I'm like, so remember when we've talked about purchasing with tax liens, right? You've been all for it, right? Like, yeah, cool. Well, I purchased one. He's like, okay, where is it? A city called East Chicago, Indiana. But once he processed it, he's all on board. He's all about our passive income and retiring ourselves too. So it was, but yeah, the way I had to break the news to him was just too funny. So I had to tell you that because I know you would enjoy that.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that story. So have you bid on anything else and just forgot to tell him about it, or is he on board with the bidding now?
No, not yet. That was just in May. So not yet, but I found that there's other, like Louisiana has on monthly online bidding. So yeah.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Why? I understand that you didn't want to hear anything about it. Good, bad, or ugly. I don't want to hear nothing about it until it's over with. I'll learn these lessons. I can figure it out. It's fine. And it's $500. It's not like I'm spending our entire life savings. It's getting started. We need to get started. Tell me more about that. Why did you feel that way? And what was he going to say that was going to either agitate you or annoy you, or maybe even he'd surprise you and encourage you, but you just didn't want to hear it yet?
I just knew that it was something that I had to do, and I didn't want to hear anything one way or the other from anybody. It was a decision that I had to make. He's a finance person, so it's not like this is foreign to him, but it was just something that I had to do on my own. And so that's why I did it.
So my husband is a finance guy too, and he's not a risk taker at all.
Mm-hmm.
Is your husband a risk taker?
I would say yes. He's a risk taker. He's definitely a risk taker. But I don't know. It was more of me, I guess, than it had anything to do with him. And since he's the person in my life,
yeah,
it's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I just want to do this.
And we've been joking. I've been doing some live videos, and I know you've been on those where you're a strong, smart, independent woman that don't need no man.
Exactly.
But I want one.
I have to have one.
I want the one that I got.
Yeah.
I just don't want to listen to him sometimes.
No. And I wouldn't say I have to have one, but you know what I'm saying. We want our men, or else they wouldn't be here.
We're women. We need a good, strong, smart man. And that's what I want. I just don't want all the commentary sometimes.
Exactly.
If you could
just like they don't want all the commentary.
No. And, my husband and I have a pretty soft agreement that you can spend so much money and that's none of my business. And I think $500, everybody's probably got a limit to where you can spend 500, maybe a couple thousand, and there's nothing to be said about it from nobody. But maybe there is a limit to where we need to agree that we're going to spend this much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sure you were comfortable spending $500 and that he wasn't going to be upset about it.
No, he wasn't going to be upset about that. But yeah, that was his first thing. Well, how much was it? Like, well, what happened? So, but yeah, he was. Pretty much immediately he was on board and wanted to know all the details and can we pull it up? Let's see what
So, how can we play with this now? Thanks for buying this toy for me.
He's ready. He's like, okay, well, when is the next sale? He's ready to more.
You took the first step and now he's ready. And I think that happens with a lot of ladies is sometimes the guys, even if they are risk takers, they're just not ready to step out and take that first step, but you already took it. All right, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me more about tax sales in Indiana. How much interest are you making on this? When do you get a clear title? And I think this land has a special qualification.
Oh, the opportunity zone.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about earlier. Tell me about that. And tell me, in Tennessee, in the counties are different, but in one of my counties, you get an immediate 10% the first day you own it if the people buy it back at a tax sale.
Yeah.
But one of my counties, you get 1% per month up to 10 months. So you can make 10% on the money that you have if the people get their land back. But if not, then you get to buy it for whatever you bid.
Yeah, this one is the same way. So you get if they reclaim it, you get your money back, which you invested, plus the 10%. So yeah, it's the same.
Is there a time limit? Do you have to go a couple months or
190 days?
Okay.
Yeah. 190 days, or it could be. Wait, hold on.
It's okay, but there's going to be something, and you have to have it for X amount of time, and then if they get it back in that amount of time, now we have a year they can come back and get it.
That's long.
Yeah.
That's a long wait.
And it maxes out at 10%. I think Georgia, I could be totally wrong, and Texas, though, have like 25% interest that you can get on the money.
Oh.
Yeah. but there's a lot of people bidding on it. And I mean, Nico would obviously be the expert on this. I've only bought in Tennessee. I've been to tax sales in other states, but I've never purchased anything.
Oh, okay. So it's actually 120 days redemption period for the spring sale, because that's what I did. The spring sale which was in May. So 120 days redemption.
And they can come back in those 120 days and get their property back. They just pay what they owed plus 10%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you file and you get title on it. Now, do you get a clear warranty deed or do you get some sort of wonky kind of deed?
My understanding is that it's a clear deed. It's a deed. It's complete ownership.
In Tennessee, you get a quitclaim deed, which says if they have any interest, they're giving it to you, but they don't have any interest and they don't know anybody with any interest. So it's kind of like a Band-Aid deed where it's okay, it's a deed, but it doesn't say we've checked into everything and everybody. I sold a house that came through a tax sale deed in Tennessee, and I had to go to jail and get an heir to sign off on it. And my attorney, I didn't. But my attorney had to go to jail and get somebody to sign off on it, and he had to go under a bridge and get somebody else to sign off on something saying that they were releasing their rights so I could get a warranty deed on it.
Wow, okay.
That's if you're going to resell it. In Tennessee, you can hold it, a quitclaim, and then you can file, I can't think of what they call it right now, after 7 years and get a warranty deed on it. But maybe Tennessee's difficult. Who knows?
Yeah. No, as far as I know, and then they do a title
search
and clear. Yeah. So
cool. So tell us about the Opportunity Zone. What is that and how does that work?
Oh, Whitney, you are putting me on the spot.
Just tell me what you know. You don't have to be an expert, but you know more than I do, so I think you're an expert.
Let's see. What is going on with that? You might have to edit that part out, Whitney.
Oh, no, it's fine. So basically, there's a government grant or something, and they've allocated certain areas of certain cities where if you buy in that and you make an improvement, you build your duplex, and then you sell it, your profits are tax-free, aren't they?
Yes, I believe so.
So it's a huge, boost to your bottom line because you paid $500, you're going to pay to put a duplex on it, but the profit that you're going to make on that coming back to you tax-free instead of you having to hold it for X amount of time or instead of you having to pay 38% interest on it, it's tax-free because they want to build up these areas.
Yes.
And you've got in one of those areas.
Yes.
I love it. I think it's incredible. I've looked at the opportunity zones in our counties where I buy, and unfortunately, it's more of like where Kendra's honey hole is than mine.
In Tennessee or Georgia?
Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, all my houses are in Tennessee. I don't have any more in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was all over the place for a while, but I'm in Tennessee now. Well, actually, physically, I'm in Florida today, but mostly in Tennessee.
Okay, so you said you looked around in the opportunity zones in your area in Tennessee, and what's going on with those?
They're in my honey hole. There's a whole green area in my honey hole that's marked as the opportunity zone, but sometimes it just feels like my luck. They're on one side of the highway and I'm on the other side. All of my properties that I've already got are on the other side of the highway. And Kendra Ellis, who also has opportunity zone properties, and she's taught me about it. She's on the other side. She's in the right zone for it because our honey holes are right next to each other. Where she invests and where I invest in Tennessee, same highway, just different, and she's in the opportunity zone and I'm not.
Wow.
So she's all crazy about it, and I'm like, I'm 50 feet on the other side.
Yeah. We had tons of comments and information about it.
Yeah, she's done a ton of research on it. So I didn't know if you'd been down that rabbit hole of research or not.
I've done some, like the basics. I'll get more, definitely more into it. But
oh yeah, you'll be an expert at it by the time you get this duplex built and sold.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're more than welcome to come back and tell us what you learn about it then.
Yes, definitely.
So you mentioned that you and your husband were about that cash flow. And now that you've done the first deal and got it closed, and it's the tax sale and the opportunity zone. Did that kind of light a fire to get him out looking at some properties with you, or what happened? How'd you get that next deal done? And tell me what it is.
So the next deal, which is the big deal.
Yeah, baby.
Was a buy and hold fourplex.
Fourplex.
Yes. And that is something that that has been a goal of ours for a while. And so it finally happened. July 25th was our closing day.
That's less than a month ago. That is a good fast deal.
Yes. So we collected August 1st rents.
Yay! You're a lady landlord. Congratulations.
Thank you. So
it's a quadplex, and you closed just in time to collect rent. That's awesome.
Yes. That was unexpected. I didn't know that that it would quite happen that way, but that was a nice surprise.
Well, that's good, because if you closed July 25th, your first payment probably wasn't due until September. So you got
September, right.
So you got to collect rent without a payment going out. Atta girl.
Exactly.
So tell us about this quadplex. Is it in the Bay Area, or where is it, in Indiana, or where is it?
No, it's in Stockton, California, about an hour from the East Bay where I live. And Stockton was at one point, I don't know if you might know, but it was labeled as they had the most foreclosures in the U.S. back during the crisis.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So it was actually the perfect location. We wanted something a little bit closer, but I mean, an hour away, who cares? It's not a big deal. It's fully occupied right now. And this was a regular real estate deal. I know you're not too to find a regular real estate, but this one is paying us.
Well, when we talk about multifamily, we talk about duplexes, quadplexes. When we talk about apartment complexes, even in apartment blitz, I change all the rules. The 3 rules that I have in First Field and Fast are completely out the window in apartment blitz, because it just doesn't work the same. The worlds are just different. So, I mean, yeah, I still have my real estate license. You know why? Commercial deals. It's worth it to have it in commercial deals. You don't need it for houses. You don't need it. I mean, if you're going to go to the tax sale, you don't need a license. You don't need a real estate agent to take you to the tax sale.
Exactly.
But I'm a fan of regular real estate deals when it's multis.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All good. And I mean, come on, there's thousands of ways to make money in real estate. So you pay an agent to give you a lead, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
So an agent found this for you. How'd you find that agent that understood commercial real estate? How'd you find the deal? How'd you get out into that kind of honey hole?
Okay, well, the agents, social media, my God. It was an agent that was running ads on Facebook that popped up in my timeline. Talked about FHA loans, if you're an investor. He also has a list of foreclosures and all this stuff. I thought, okay, so he's an investor agent. That's what really caught, my interest.
Okay, so investor agents, I don't give them any of the crap I give regular real estate agents, because investor agents usually have some investments and they speak our language and they get it, and they're not one-hit wonders trying to help a new home buyer. You're only a new home buyer once.
Right.
Leave those people alone. Work with investors. Be an investor. Get monthly cash flow. All of that stuff. Yes, absolutely. I want to also take a time out. You said something about social media. What did you mean about social media?
Well, he ran an ad looking for, or not necessarily looking for people, but just I saw it as him letting people know what's out there and what you can get, you know, and what you can do. And so when I saw that and I'm reading, you know, his post, I'm like, okay, well, I need to send this guy a message. So I just said, hey, I'm interested. I said, okay, what's your give me your email address and your phone number. We'll have someone give you a call. Okay, fine. So the next day, one of his team members, the lender, called me and asked, you know, all the first general questions, you know, how's your credit and blah, blah, blah. When do you want to buy? What do you want to buy? And so I told him that, gave her our information, and it just kind of, it just went from there. And that was it.
Well, that's a really smart agent who already has that team established, and he is already speaking your language. He's already trying to help you and be a matchmaker, set you up with a deal that you can afford, set you up with a deal that's going to make you money. And yeah, he makes money off of that. But I mean, social media is how we meet people these days, and it's how we get into great opportunities these days. I mean, we met on Facebook, didn't we?
Yes.
Or Instagram or something years ago.
Facebook years ago. Yes, I still remember seeing your first video, and I'm like, who is this crazy wacky? But I like her, so I'm going to sign up for her free something you were doing, free how to buy houses or something. I'm going to sign up for it, and I was hooked ever since. So yeah.
Same as this guy. He got you. We're going to make some money together. So you've got this, and it's in what I would consider the Bay Area. You don't think it's the Bay Area, but it's still that general geographic location.
Yeah.
So that's good, and it's close to you. So if you need to go check on it, it's just an hour away. And honestly, my honey hole is about an hour away from where I live too.
Okay.
Now I have investments around my house, but especially in the beginning, I had to drive to where nobody else wanted to drive to get deals done, because there's still people out there with deals they wanted to get rid of. So I paid more in gas to get there, but I still got them done. And I still went to the RIA meetings like, what y'all doing? And they were like, nothing. I'm like, oh, well, I closed 3 this week. You got to go out there.
Yeah.
So you went out there and looked at the property. What'd you think?
I thought, okay, we looked around in each unit.
Was that the first one you looked at though?
No, that was not the first one.
What was it like?
Oh God. Oh my God. The way some people live was just unbelievable. And we had every place we went to, it was always the 3 of us, me, my husband, and my son. And so bringing Titus in there with, kids, they have no filter. And so, I mean, a lot of them it was crap all over the place. It just smelled bad. And it's just like, okay, you would try to hurry up and go in and hurry up and, and just get out, because it was,
and hold your breath and wish you bought
oh God. So yeah, it was an experience. And my son, I hope we're not going to be living in it. No, we're not. Don't worry. Yeah.
It's different though, but I'm glad that you're teaching him at a young age that you can buy stuff that you don't have to live in, but that you want to buy stuff that's been taken care of, and that the people living in it want to take care of it too.
Yes.
That's a great lesson for him. And how old is Titus? 7. So I took my oldest stepson to a house that I was evicting the people out of, and I don't remember how old he was. I think he was older than 7 though. I think he was 7 when I met him, so he had to be probably 11 when I took him to this house. He wanted to touch everything. And I was like, don't touch anything in here. It's all disgusting. It's all gross. Don't touch anything. And so now though, he's been exposed to that before, and he knows, don't touch anything.
Don't touch nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. We're going to hire people to come in here with suits, and they're still not going to touch anything. It's gross.
Yeah. Somehow Titus knew, like, I don't know what's going on here, but let's go. Can we go, please? And he even said that. Oh, it stinks in here. I'm like, oh my God, come on, let's go.
Out of the mouth of babes.
Yes. So,
Bless his little heart.
That was the first couple of experiences, and then this one, it wasn't as bad. You know, we were able at least to go in and look around and be, you know, and feel comfortable, and didn't want to hurry up and exit. So yeah, and it was on a nice quiet street. So luckily it, you know, everything worked out, even with the ups and downs through the whole escrow and all that stuff. So
what were some of the ups and downs? I love the ugly part of these stories. Tell me all the good, bad, and ugly.
oh God, I mean, at the last second, we had an issue just with on my part. I don't want to say too much on a video, but it was just an issue on my part that we had to hurry up and fix.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's always, even though they tell you like, okay, here's what you're going to come in with, here's the amount that I swear at the 11th and a half hour, we get a call saying, well, actually, we need you to have this.
Double, triple.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, you know, but I would do it all over again. And I know we wouldn't have those problems. We wouldn't have those issues. It'll be something else. But like I said, I'll do it all over again. You know, in the thick of it, you feel like, okay, I'm never doing this again. But no, I'll do it over again and again and again and again.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because you're right. In the thick of it, you're like, forget it. It ain't worth it. But then a week later, you get those rent checks and you're like, hallelujah, let's do it again. It was fine. We lived through it. Let's do it again.
We lived through it. Let's go.
I love that. That's fantastic. So we had a deal go sideways last week. We were supposed to bring $5,000 to closing, and they called like 3 hours before the office was shutting down. They were like, yeah, we actually need $21,000.
Okay. Ours wasn't that much, not even close, but
it happens all the time though. It happens all the time.
All the time. Wow.
And that's actually why I started being a private money lender, is so that, all right, I got 20 grand, chill. We'll still make this deal happen. You just pay me to make the deal stick.
Yeah.
It's basically what I do in transactional funding, because that happens all the time. People get right down to closing and they change everything, and then there's a panic, and then it doesn't close. Well, 8 different people were depending on this thing to close.
Yeah.
So that's my specialty in lending, is to get it to close. I'm there in a pinch.
Wow. Well, Whitney, I didn't know that you were the money. So I can call you if I'm in a bind or something.
Yep. We do short-term, just Band-Aid kind of loans on deals that are set to close, but it happens all the time that people get to closing and something goes funky.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I think about how this almost did not happen, and still, just to think about it today, it just does something to me. Yeah.
I've been through it. I've talked to other FTDFers that have been through it. I've talked to lots of other women, lots of dudes too. In regular real estate, it happens that at the 11th hour, like you said, somebody changes the rules. We've been going right along, and then they say, nope. And it's almost like they're just testing you. See how bad you want it. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you say, I guess if you don't have the money, they just say, okay, well, we'll start all over with, someone else.
And honestly, it's that kind of stress, it's that kind of anxiety that gives real estate a bad name. And that's, a lot of women go through that, and they've only seen the unicorns and rainbows, and they're not expecting a big hiccup at the end. Like, at least you knew that this happens sometimes. Whatever it was that happened, crap happens right before closing. And that's what's so stressful about it. That's what real estate agents get paid to do, is they absorb it and they brainstorm it, and then they deliver it in a way that keeps the deal together. Yeah. Because your emotions are high, you worked really hard to get to this place, and now it's all just crumbling, and oh, what are we going to do? And blah, 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 blah. And it's just so much easier if you know that somebody's going to be there to help you get over this last hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm glad you did it, though, and I'm so proud of you for closing and collecting that August rent and getting excited about the next deal and setting Titus up so that he can do these deals forever and all of that.
Yes.
Oh, it's so awesome. Yes. I wanted to ask something else about when you were looking at other deals. I want to point out that you looked at other deals and you were in and out of other deals for a couple of years we've been together before you got this one to actually close. And so a lot of ladies, I think, are under this impression that they just get a lead, it turns into a deal, and then it closes and there's nothing that goes wrong.
No.
It's not like that, right? I mean, you got to go through a couple losers. Just like we were talking about men earlier. You're going to go through a couple losers before you find your husband. You're going to go through a couple losers before you find your deal.
Definitely. Especially if you're on a market like mine. I mean, you can't let that stop you, though.
Other people swoop in. Lots of things can get you down. Yeah. So how do you keep going?
But that's why I'm thankful for your group in First Deal Done Fast and other groups that I'm in, but initially yours, because I believe yours was like the first one that a closed group, and it's more of like a family, and you're always there. And so if I didn't have the community, I wouldn't know which way to go. I wouldn't know, who, I wouldn't have anyone to ask, or so yeah.
Also, in First Deal Done Fast, we're very willing to share, hey, I had a loser.
Yeah.
Y'all keep going. And that way you see other people that have losers and you're like, oh, it's not just me. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just the flow.
Right.
It's totally cool. Well, do you have any advice for ladies thinking about getting started or thinking about getting their first deal? Or what kind of advice would you give for a woman that was you 2 or 3 years ago?
I would say just first figure out what you want to do. What is it that you actually want for your life? What is it that you want to do? First get that down. And then once you have that, and if your vehicle is real estate, stick with it. Just stick with it and keep going. Just keep going. Sometimes you feel like you're not doing anything, but hey, that's fine. Just get back up and keep going, no matter what that is. So, I wanted to give up, especially when you see people, doing deals and doing this and doing that. For me, I had to kind of pivot into another direction because of my market. So, just find other ways. Like Whitney says, there are hundreds of ways to make money in real estate. Pick one. Pick one and make it happen. And then find that other thing that you can do, So that's my advice.
I love it. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I know you're in the big She Buys It group, the big free group. So if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you there, and we'll put this replay up in there too. If anybody else has any other questions, there's another way to check you out and see what you got going on that you want to share, or just reach out on Facebook.
Just reach out on Facebook. It's good.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, good. Well, Jenine, this has been awesome. I've learned a ton. Thank you so, so much. Is there anything else you want to share before we head out?
No, just have fun. Relax, have fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Keep going and have fun. That's a good life motto, especially for real estate investing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so, so much. If y'all are listening to this right now, please join the She Buys It group on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, like us, share it, do all those wonderful things. And if you've got a story you want to share on the She Buys It group, I'd love to have you. Just reach out and let me know. Thanks so much, Jenine. This is awesome.
Thank you. Bye, Whitney.
Bye, y'all.